For what kind of man is cold approach? I would say every guy between 12 to 19 years old, 12 to 90, looking for more romantic experiences, ultimately the best romantic experiences of your life, looking for a wife, looking for a girlfriend. Are you done with dealing with mediocrity? Are you sick of using dating apps? Do you find going to nightclubs and surrounding yourself with drunk people annoying? I used to find this very annoying. That's one of the reasons I really felt stuck. And it's important to understand that this cold approach thing and the fact that you have now, even in this era, cold approach coaches, that means something. It means there is a problem in our society. I would say in the West, there is a deep social and emotional need for men to take action and do something because they feel stuck. I felt stuck. I knew there was something wrong when I couldn't approach girls. You don't want to see a gorgeous woman walking past you on this square, feel this deep attraction, and just have this physical experience inside you telling you like, something's wrong. Like I should do something, but I kind of black out. I don't know what to do. That's not normal. That's not how it's supposed to be. Like, what story do you want to tell your kids, that you met mom on Tinder, or you met her on Republic Square in Serbia at 12 a.m., on a beautiful summer night, and you had a magical interaction and you just fell in love with each other? Those are different things. What kind of story are you telling yourself? What kind of story are you telling to others and to your kids, to your wife? Um, so yeah, if you're sick with mediocrity, if you're sick of dealing with situationships, if you feel like you can do more, then that feeling is there because it means you can do more, and you shouldn't deal with mediocrity, never. So yeah, let's roll.
All right, we're rolling, boys. So we decided, firstly, hello from Belgrade, Serbia. Today is, I believe, July 20th, 2025. It's a Monday night. Bustling, as you can see. It's still amazing out here, even on a Monday at 10:30 p.m. It's crazy. And today we wanted to go into some more deeper topics that we've been discussing just privately amongst ourselves. And the main topic of the video is going to be debunking cold. What did we decide on?
Debunking.
Debunking?
Cold approach myths.
Yeah. So the main topic of the video is going to be debunking cold approach myths, and just what, guys that are starting out in this space, they tend to have certain beliefs. They tend to have all of these ideas of how things are going to go, of expectations that they should have. A lot of guys seem to be pretty entitled, and they think that they should be getting results just by virtue of going over to a few girls. And we've been in the game for about 2 years now, all of us. We were coached around the same time back in 2023, 2024. And so we've got a lot of reps under our belt. And this is our second time meeting up and approaching together. There's got to be, just in the week I've been here and then the 3 weeks they've been here, there's got to be around 100 approaches among all of us, probably more than that. And that includes 2 sets, 3 sets, mother-daughter approaches, the whole lot. So we'll be able to discuss the topic from a few different angles and just talk. Please, it's fine, please. Yeah, the more the merrier, huh? We'll make you famous. And we'll be able to just discuss the topics from a few different angles. And more, the most important thing is you're going to be getting to hear about the reality of this from guys that actually do it and do it well. Yeah, like I mentioned, we were properly coached on this, and we all had the same coach. So we have a similar perspective, but we also have a different perspective, being different individuals, all from different countries and different backgrounds and upbringings. And so, we're going to be able to share our thoughts in this podcast. So excited to get started.
Okay, so
No, let's just do one.
debunking cold approach myths. Myth number 1: you get to wear whatever you want. No, you don't. You have to wear a white t-shirt. You have to wear a Bratva white t-shirt.
You need to chew gum as well.
We've been playing golf this afternoon. This is what we've been doing. No, so myths versus reality of cold approach. I did a video on my channel about a week ago on what it really looks like, what a good dating life from cold approach really looks like. And it's a pyramid. it's a pyramid. The base of your pyramid is, what are you presenting to the world? Are you well dressed? You got good fitness? Can you speak relatively well? Do you have good social competence? That's your baseline. Layer one is how many good, solid approaches are you putting in? Okay, over a calendar month, over a 6-month period. Let's say you put in 300 approaches. Layer two is numbers collected, layers three is dates, and then layer four is hookups and girlfriends and so on. So it's a pyramid, right? You're not going to close every single girl, obviously. So I don't know what you guys think, but it really does vary according to your session, according to how you're feeling, according to your motivation, according to your fatigue levels. But if you're fairly consistent and you're going out, you're feeling good, I think, let's say you put in 50 approaches. I think if you get 10 numbers out of that is absolutely perfectly respectable, in my opinion. And upper end of that, if you're doing fairly well, you're on a bit of a streak, maybe 20, something like that, I think is realistic. And then from that 50 numbers, let's say five dates or something like that. That's pretty much how it averages out. You have strange things happen. You might have a week where you do one approach a day and you get every number. I've actually had that before. Where you just go out 5 days and one approach, bang, 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 and all of them seem interested. But if we're running big volume, that's to me is how it looks. So yeah, if what a very simple thing is, if you think that you're doing approach and you're not putting in these types of numbers per month, let's say at least 30 approaches a month, you're not really doing that much, in my opinion. Yeah. And that would be low end. We're in the summer months now, so I think you can probably be putting in higher than that. So that's just a really mathematical thing. I think some guys like that. Yeah. On the flip side, we all know that the real magic in the approach is not about the maths. Yeah. All of the so-called rejections are just not even relevant. They're just fodder. They're nothing. They don't mean anything, because all you're actually even in it for to begin with is that magical moment, that incredible spark, that sultry, saucy woman that walks past, as she just did to Ephraim, gives you the eyes, and it's on straight away. Yeah, all the other approaches are just kind of to keep you in the flow, so to speak, just to get you used to things. So yeah, that's what I want to debunk, is an idea of some crazy life where there's a guy who goes in and he gets all the numbers. That's just total horseshit. There's literally nobody on earth who's doing that. Yeah. If someone gets 50%, they're unreal. Yeah. They're literally unreal. Maybe they're in a really good territory where the girls are super amenable and they're really, really good. Yeah. That would be, because some of the girls have got boyfriends and so on and so forth. So hopefully that clears something up for guys. In terms of expectations, you may not be doing as badly as you think, because if you've only done 5 approaches, you've not even started yet. If you've only done 20, you've barely got started. Yeah. So yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to clear up. Very simple one.
Yeah. Just on that note, I love that you bring up that pyramid, because I think guys starting out just have the wrong idea. And that's why every one of us, we post all of the approaches that we do, whether that be brutal rejection, whether that be short conversation and she has a boyfriend or she's married, or whether that be a romantic spark to a love story. We post it all to share with you what the reality is. Yeah, this movie star-esque, script written kind of reality is just that's not how life works. Yeah, that's why these movies are scripted in such a way, and it's serendipitous in a way, right? This is real life. This is real life approaching. These women have boyfriends, husbands, they're not feeling well, they're having a bad day, the sun is shining too hot on their skin at the time that you approach them. It's not realistic to think that you're going to get every phone number in. And honestly, the way that I look at it, the way that I teach it, is this is essentially a filtering process. So firstly, you need to be really good with the skill. So on one end, you can't expect that every girl is going to like you and give you her phone number. But on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you should not expect to go up to 200 women and none of them like you. Yeah. So if that's your reality, if you're getting harsh blowouts, none of these girls are stopping to have conversations with you, that doesn't mean cold approach doesn't work. That means there's something that's going on with you that's very wrong. That's going very wrong. Those aren't normal numbers. Yeah, it should be essentially around the ballpark of what Joseph mentioned. It's like this, you can't get this down to an exact math, right? Some days you're just on fire. You meet girls that are open and they're maybe it's a Saturday and there's romance in the air and they want to be approached and none of them happen to have boyfriends and you're 5 for 5 that day. And then you go out the very next day and you approach 15 girls and 12 of them have boyfriends and 3 of them talk to you and they're not interested in you. And that's just how it goes. But when you average it out, yeah, 10 numbers and 50 approaches is pretty standard. Yeah, and that's if you're good. That's it. That's if you're really, really good, right? So if you're going in for all of these, just hundreds of approaches and not getting anywhere, then you need to take a step back from approaching in general and do a bit of self-auditing. And it is a bit difficult to do that, which is why guys like us are on the internet posting content. We're trying to find guys that hear what we're saying and decide, rather than to try to do this on their own, try to self-audit and correct themselves, they reach out to somebody who can already see further than they can, because we're already higher up on the mountain anyways. So we already have a different perspective than you do. And we can correct you based on what we see and genuinely what we've already gone through. All of us have already gone through the immersion. All of us have already gotten really good at this skill. And so we know what regular numbers look like. And then we also know when somebody is just dog shit when it comes to their approach. Yeah.
Yeah, so based on what you just said, what you guys both just said, we can establish that first of all, you need to get the basics in order. All right, you need to have some sort of income. You need a job. If you're a broke student, don't even think about getting started with daytime cold approach. I'm talking to my former self.
Yeah.
I was literally watching in fields of guys doing cold approach when I was still a broke student, dreaming of this fantasy life, having all the girls in the world. It's just not real. Okay, you need to have the basics in order. Like, are you a happy person? Do you work out? Is your style on point? Are you walking around with torn and stained, dirty old clothes? Are you brokey living in your grandma's basement? Because then you're simply not gonna be getting any sort of positive results. So, and then on top of that, let's just assume for a second that you have these basics set in place. You do have a job. You're somewhat presentable. You're a decent human being. You're getting there. On top of that, you need a basic understanding of how cold approach works, and you need to have some basic skills in place as well. You basically need to know how to stop a girl. You need to know how to open her, with things to avoid, things to work towards. Might be some issues there you're not even able to see yourself, and in this layer of the pyramid, we're still not talking about seduction. We're just talking about making cold approach work. Cold approach is binary. Don't think about seduction in the beginning. I would say just think about making it work. That should be enough. And then after that, you can think about, okay, how can I make things more seductive? I would say experience is very important with this as well. Maybe the next myth we can debunk is that cold approach will somehow magically provide you with a skill that will get you uniform results,
Right.
and that will enable you to sleep with every woman. Okay, I know there's guys that think that, based on the comments I'm getting, not only on YouTube but in real life from friends I have that or friends and family members that are not doing cold approach themselves, but sometimes they watch a video, maybe they kind of heard something about pickup from a book, or I don't know, from somebody else talking about it. There's no such thing as a routine that will get you any woman.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's a dream. That's literally a fantasy based on a Playboy magazine and you maybe watching porn and hearing some stories. Yeah, that's basically drunk bar talk. That's not real. That doesn't work. It is, first of all, who are you? Then it is, what are you aware of? How are your skills? What do you know? Did you get coaching? Because you'll need coaching. And then on top of that, it is, yeah, what's on top of that?
Well, it's just this is a nice segue because there's fundamentals, and then Ephraim often talks about intangibles. For each individual, I think you have to find. So first of all, if you've not done 50 to 100 approaches, you don't have any. If you've not done 50 to 100 approaches and you've not been coached by someone very good, in my opinion, you have no valid opinion on cold approach. I'm sorry to say. So that means almost everyone watching the content, you don't actually have a valid opinion. And it sounds like a haughty thing to say. It's just the truth. It's like me having an opinion on composing classical music. It's just stupid. Like investing in XYZ, it's just stupid. So unless you're actually done, let's say 50 to 100, and you've had some coaching, or maybe you've been around the scene, like where guys are approaching left, right, and center. Okay, fair enough. But unless you're in it, you don't really have an opinion. And the next thing I would say, really on top of that, is with all these baselines in place, you're going to have a personalized profile of the way your life is, right? Your own individual character, your job setup, right? Are you salaried or are you self-employed? Do you work a seasonal job? Do you work a high pressure job? Do you work part-time? Where are you living? There's so many things that are going to go into it. How you feel, and the biggest one for me is how I'm actually feeling when I go out. Basically, am I feeling happy, excited, and motivated when I go out? Once you've actually got the skills and you've got good people around you, that's essentially going to be the biggest predictor. I find at this point, in for me anyway, the biggest predictor for how well I'm going to do is just how motivated and excited I am to be out. We've basically done 3 straight weeks of cold approach, me about this at this point. So I would say, I did it, like I've maybe done 5 or 6 approaches today. The only one I enjoyed was the one where the girls didn't speak any English, just because it was an interesting challenge, a bit of a train wreck approach, but I really enjoyed it. And that's kind of basically because I'm coming out essentially with no ammo at the moment. I probably need to take a few days off. Strange people. I probably should need to take a few days off. And it's different for every guy. Some guys get more into the flow after a few days, although I don't think after 3 weeks anyone is going to have tons of energy. So you got to feel how it is for you. You got to feel how it is for you, and that really is individual. It really is a feeling. It's not like the gym where you can just mechanically go out. Like I can go to the gym mechanically and do a big workout, and I know just it's a crude mechanical process. It's not really much to it. Cold approach is a more emotional process as well. So there's going to be, that's not I'm not giving anyone an excuse. You should be out at least once a week, absolute minimum, doing an intensive session. But beyond that, whether you go out 4 times, whether you go out twice, how effective you are, a lot of it's just going to come down to how you're feeling tonight. You feeling good? And that comes down often to other things as well. I found like today I was like, I feel like I probably should do a bit more work if I'm being honest, but the boys are out, I'm going to go and meet them.
There's many things that go into that. It's your job. It's the kind of work you're doing. It's your day-to-day life. Do you have some issues maybe in your personal life? How's your relationship with your parents, right? How are you taking care of yourself? All these different things. And based on what you said before on getting the reps in and working a decent volume, getting enough approaches in is very important. I know there's a ton of guys out there that think, well, I'll just go to the gym, I'll just get a nice job, make some cash, design a somewhat interesting lifestyle, and then someday when I'll see the girl I like, I'll be able to do a cold approach, right? Like I don't need coaching because getting on the street deliberately with the purpose of doing 10 approaches is just weird. I don't do that, right? I'll just wait it until it kind of naturally unfolds. I get it. I get that guys are thinking that. However, I have to disappoint you. It's completely wrong. First of all, you need an immersive period where you learn the skill. So you'll have to do a 3-day coaching with any of these guys or with me. Then you'll have to keep progressing, working on the skill. I highly advise taking like 2 weeks off, even 3 weeks to 1 month to do cold approach every day if you're serious about this, in terms of getting maybe a girlfriend, maybe a wife, or you just want to get some experience in. And then afterwards, apart from learning the skill, it's also about the kind of girls you will meet, because a ton of girls will be unavailable. because they're taken, because they're simply not a match, because they're having a bad day, many other reasons. Maybe you'll find even girls that are a very good match, but for some reason, logistically or time wise, it just simply won't work out. I actually met three very interesting women in the last 3 weeks, but they all of a sudden just disappeared because they moved to another city, because they were here on a vacation, because it's exams, because they have to go to their parents or whatever. So there is so much that goes on that if you're let's just assume you're looking for a wife. First of all, you'll have to learn the skill, and then you need a sufficient volume to actually find a wife that you can make things work with, because it's not just chemistry, it's not sex, it's also practical reality in life that makes or breaks a potential relationship.
Yeah, that's all absolutely spot on. The other thing I wanted to say there, so you said building the lifestyle up, building a cool social life, building your career up, getting in the gym, etc., getting your style on point. That's actually not going to be enough. You're going to have to, if you want to do things in this way, the natural, organic way, you're going to have to learn a few skills. Now, that's absolutely true. The inverse of that is also true, though. The freaks who come out into the street and think that's going to make up for having a shit life and being completely useless. And there are guys like that. That's also not what we want to be associated with. And it's also, that's no path to success either. You need both. You need both. So I would say the immersive period, your 3-day immersion, maybe even you take a break, maybe as Balthazar said, a couple of weeks where you do quite a lot of volume, maybe a few months after the immersion. And then if you're consistent, you can go out once a week, you can do an hour once a week, as long as you do actually go in for your 5 to 10 approaches. And I would say if you do that for like a period of 6 months, as well as just taking care of the rest of your life, maybe becoming a bit more proactive in your social life. We see friends of ours, after cold approach, they start to become more proactive in their social life. They start to go and join this networking group or this sports group or whatever it is. I do think having having a broader life package is also really important as well. So it's like the cold approach is that's like your sets in the gym, and that's your steroids basically for your social life, and you will be picking up girls from that, but you need a life to bring those girls into. And then in addition to that, in your general life, hey, who knows, you might meet people external where you're able to easily pull girls in from your new business networking group, because you can do cold approach, so you can easily approach people in those scenarios. So it's about having like a healthy balance. That's my angle on it anyway. I don't know what you guys think, but
Yeah, so just to keep things structured, I'd say based on what you both just said, the myth that we're debunking right now is the myth that you can be in any state of being, in any state of mind, and find success with cold approach. So guys think that they can start out from completely the depths of social skills where they don't know how to look people in the eyes, they don't know how to socialize at all, they can't carry a conversation, and they think that they could just jump into the deep end and make things happen with this skill set, even though everything else about their life they don't even really like. Yeah, they're working a shit dead-end job or a part-time job at a mall kiosk. They have trouble speaking to people in public, let alone gorgeous women. And they think that they can just jump into this skill set from where they are without working on any of that preliminary stuff and find success with this skill. And yeah, that simply is just not the case, right? So before we even are discussing, how you feel in the moment, it's important to talk about how you feel about yourself overall. Yeah, because if you genuinely just don't think that you're worth anything and you don't have any self-belief, and then you just try to jump into a skill set as emotionally intimate as this, yeah, that is going to take so much out of you, then you can't expect to find results with this skill. Yeah, so there is a lot of preliminary work that needs to be done. In fact, the three of us, we were already solid guys before we ever reached out to Christian in the first place. Yeah, Balthus has a musical background. Joseph has a background as a club promoter in various different jobs. I've got a background in sales. We all have different quirks about our personalities, and that's just interest, right? Not to mention we were already social guys. Yeah, we already were able to get girlfriends prior to cold approach. This was just turning the dial up. Yeah, this was just the missing link for us to really explode our dating lives. So don't think that you can just go from watching, playing Minecraft in your mother's basement to all of a sudden trying to approach a few girls and expect that you're going to find your girlfriend and that's going to be easy. That's simply not the case. So yeah, I think they did a great job of illuminating that. The myth here that we're debunking is that you can't just be in any state of being, in any state of mind, and then just jump straight into the deep end and learn this skill set. There are some preliminary things that you need to take care of that are very important. So yeah, I just wanted to add my 2 cents there.
In addition to what you just said, Ephraim, um, it's important to understand that what we're doing with Cold Approach, it is ultimately about dating. It's about girls. It's about your love life, but it goes much, much deeper than just that. This greatly influences your self-esteem.
Self-esteem,
All right, so
self-belief.
self-belief, self-esteem. It will enhance your business. If you work in sales, you'll definitely make more sales because of this. It will give you a killer mindset, and it will show you to yourself that you are the action taker.
The next thing I wanted to begin to cover, and I think this is a topic, well, I'm going to be thinking about more over the next month in more depth, in reflective moments, is well, you mentioned what success looks like. What does the Playboy lifestyle look like? Because that's kind of the lifestyle we're all living to one extent or another. I would say at different paces. But what does that lifestyle look like? And what are the downsides to that lifestyle? And what are the limitations to it? And is it something that we're going to sustain forever? Or at some point, does it end up, do things begin to change? You know what? We've talked a lot about all of these car crash, motorbike crash situations that we've had over the years. And it is important to actually realize, there's a lot of bullshit in this lifestyle. If you think it's just going to be all smooth, these like NPC women bowing down at your feet, just begging to sleep with you, and there's no emotional aspect management, at times mismanagement. If you don't think any of that's in the pipeline, well, you just haven't experienced anything. There's a lot of bullshit, and the goal really is, if you're in a Playboy phase, you want to minimize the bullshit. So we've talked about ways to do that in the group and so on. So I just want to kick us off there. So maybe just pass over to you first of all, Balthus.
Yeah, I think one massive life-changing element of developing yourself through daytime cold approach is you will change your life and your dating experience from a scarcity situation to an abundance situation, where you line up so many options that you become more and more selective. So your the quality of the girls, the quality
Please.
the quality of the girls. So daytime cold approach will provide you with the highest quality of women you can imagine.
Balthus has told me about how in his personal life previously, he would get himself into all sorts of weird situations, be dating multiple girls and stuff, but it was kind of, I don't know, maybe a fantasy of having all these different girlfriends, but really maybe none of them were even the ones he wanted anyway. And well, we've just talked about that, and I feel like as time has gone on, and we've only known each other for a year and a half, but as time has gone on, you've steadily started to date in a more healthy way. That's my overall interpretation of what you've been up to.
Yeah, the first time I had a girlfriend that I would sleep with, I was 16 years old. And first time I had two girlfriends, I was also 16 years old. Just as a little side note. And then between my 16 and my 26, I had basically 10 years of mostly having at least two girlfriends at the same time. I'm not gonna say that was very healthy, but it did get me a ton of experience dealing with situationships, dealing with problems, issues. And I think one of the one of the reasons I kept getting into this loop, this endless loop, is because I was highly dependent on social environment
Uh-huh.
and then later on dating apps.
Uh-huh.
So that's basically a massive enhancer for problems, because you kind of depend on luck
Uh-huh.
and on faith. With cold approach, it's you that who makes the decisions.
Yeah, great points there. So just refocusing the myth we're debunking here is that Playboy kind of a lifestyle, and this is kind of an idealized lifestyle that a lot of guys have that first get into this space, and they want to hook up with a lot of girls and have a lot of shallow casual relationships with a lot of girls because at one point or another they came across either people in their real life or people online that told them that that was an ideal version of love, an ideal version of dating, and essentially they're just regurgitating what they've heard. And I can substantiate this because I've been one of those guys. I remember just a few years ago, right? I learned cold approach 2 years ago when I was 23. And back when I was 18, 19, 20, I was obsessed with the rotation. Yeah, I thought, oh, if one thing I need to do before I die is get a rotation of women, I need to know what that's like. I need to experience that. And I have to be hooking up with 1, 2, 3+ girls at a time because I don't know, maybe I thought that made me more of a man. Maybe I just wanted to impress my friends. Yeah, we all have our own reasons. But we can hit this from a few angles. Yeah, my friends here have made some great points already. One of them is genuinely just physical limitations. Yeah, you're dating more women. Let's say 2 to 3 women at a time. They're probably gonna want to see you at least once a week, once every other week, and we have a certain limit as far as our testosterone. Yeah, it's like if no, I'm being so genuine right now. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if you've hooked up with the girl the very next day, it's a little bit harder to. It's going to be a little less passionate, right? If you see another girl, so I guess what I'm saying is, seeing a lot of girls throughout a week is actually, it's kind of bad in a way.
Yeah.
It kind of detracts from your life.
It's very time consuming as well.
Yeah.
If you're just living a normal life, you have a normal job,
Yeah.
you want to see your parents in the weekend, and you have one girlfriend, that's just in terms of time management is more than enough.
Yeah.
If you want to add another girl on that, it will negatively influence the rest of your life, most probably.
Yeah, so the whole I think my generation, I'm 39, so I think we were the most probably hit by the idea of having a harem. This was the thing that everyone wanted. You want to have a circle of girls that you see on a regular basis. You can't just have one girlfriend. That was how it started off. These guys are definitely not getting laid, by the way. We know that. You're not riding your motorbike around aggressively around a pedestrian square.
It sounds pretty bad.
Gypsy morons.
Sounds like a cheap motorcycle.
They're rubbish, mate. Come on. That's sexual frustration for you. It caused you to act like a moron.
Yeah, it's a gang. There might be some hot chicks there, so we might want to do a little round.
Yeah, maybe do some cold approach. Hell's Angels cold approach. But yeah, so this is a thing, right? To go and have a harem, have multiple girlfriends, and be seeing multiple girls. I had a decent stab at it for quite a few years. I thought it was a cool thing to do. That's what I wanted to do. In a way, there's a strange way in which it somewhat feels natural. It's probably a taboo thing to say, but it does kind of feel natural in a way. You don't. It feels kind of normal to have maybe a couple of girls in your life. But ultimately, what these guys said is true. There's a physical limitation, there's a time limitation, and there's also biology as well. If you're, I can't believe how stupid this idea is and how I actually went along with it for so long. If you're sleeping with a girl, look, I was just going to finish this last point. I can't believe how stupid it was to actually think that you can sleep with a girl for a year casually. Yeah. It does not exist. Casual sex for that amount of time simply does not exist. If you're doing it casually, I'd honestly say, I said before 5, limit yourself to 5 sex encounters. I'd say now 2 or 3. 2 or 3. Don't go beyond that if you're dating casually. And what that means is you're going to have to be back out in the field again. But this idea you're going to just have like 2 or 3 girls around, you're going to sleep with them regularly for like a year, and that's just going to be your life.
Yeah.
Or 5 or 6 or 10.
Yeah.
That's not actually real. And at some point, the girls are going to get attached. You're going to get attached. Things are going to become chaotic. Things are going to go south. They will go south, in any multiple different ways, emotionally, STDs, etc., etc.
Yeah. The idea you can just endlessly date casually with anyone you like, and that there won't be any
It's
consequences.
a cancer.
It's a complete fantasy.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Okay, people will be depressed. You will be depressed. People get pregnant. People will hate you. It's not something you want to try out. So it's a complete myth.
So, just to add on that, something that's overlooked as well is honesty and transparency. Because I think all of us have had at least one of these relationships. Mine being my most recent one, where I actually found a girl that was okay with me sleeping with other women. And so, to some extent, I completely agree that it shouldn't go past a few hookups if you're genuinely just trying to keep things 100% casual. But if you do meet a girl, let's say through cold approach, that you really do like, and you've created such an abundant lifestyle that you're able to sit her down and just be transparent with your intentions about, look, I'm living this sort of a lifestyle. I'm in this phase of my life. I'm really not looking for an exclusive relationship. The vast majority of girls probably will not be down for that, at least in my experience. But if the connection is good enough and she's in a phase of her life where she's okay with that, then you can absolutely find women that can essentially seamlessly fit into your lifestyle in a certain way, and allow you to have more of a deep connection and a deeper relationship where you're seeing each other more consistently, while also being able to go out into the field and do some other stuff. We got some drunk girl behind us. That's annoying. We picked an interesting location. Now, this seemed to be a perfect location prior to all this dumbass stuff happening, but yeah. So, anyways, all I was saying there is what I've learned. One of the things I've learned through cold approach is because I have such an abundant dating life now, I'm able to have these difficult conversations with girls that prior to cold approach I would have shied away from, because I was worried that if I tell her my true intentions rather than misleading her, then she won't be interested in seeing me anymore, and she won't be interested in fitting into my lifestyle. But you will hit a point if you get proficient enough with this skill set. And by the way, I should mention this as well. If this is actually what you're looking for, some guys just want a girlfriend, and that's totally okay. Yeah, I find that I'll pass it over, but I find that a lot of guys think that they should be after this sort of a lifestyle just because they see it online and it's glorified, right? But like, I've been in a position where I'm hooking up with multiple girls throughout a week, and it's honestly not something that I prefer, right? I've actually found, at least at 25, that my sweet spot is finding a girl that I'm just so compatible with, personality wise, sexually, everything, and seeing other girls on the side, knowing that she's okay with that and having already had that conversation with her. So there's no guilt. Yeah, there's no emotional guilt in play. So
Yeah, the point I was going to come in with there was you're 25.
yeah.
So I do think I actually advocate young guys just getting some stuff out of their system. If you've got a dog in you, if you've got that dog, it's got to go and hunt.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Not all guys have got it, and if you don't have it, to be honest, it's probably a blessing. Yeah, don't try and fake it if you don't have it. If you have it, it's just there. There's some men who are just hunters by nature, but if you've got it, then honor that side of your personality. It's what gives you the drive. It's the testosterone, etc. But you will come to a point at some point in life, probably by the time you start to hit your mid to late 30s, or maybe mid to late 20s even, where you start to take on more responsibilities. You start to look beyond, how many women am I getting? You start to look beyond your sex life. You're actually starting to look at what impact do I want to have in the world. When am I going to have a family? When am I going to pass my knowledge on to the next generation? When am I going to basically have my own lineage, lead my own family? And at that phase, the how many women you're getting per week is just totally irrelevant. Like, Hugh Hefner, a guy with like 500 girlfriends. He's a cool guy. He's had a cool lifestyle, but I don't see him as the pinnacle of humanity just because he had the most girls. It's like, and it's also, that's not even real anyway. So, there comes a phase where you begin to focus in on other things. And one thing I'll add as well is I'd even make a case for guys try sexual discipline. Like, but you've got to be able to get the sex before you can discipline yourself from it. Otherwise, you're just deluding yourself. But go through your wrecking ball phase for a while, and then at a certain point, it's actually worth trying out. I had this last year when I actually was starting to almost hit a threshold of success where I was starting to go, I can see my life's going to derail actually, because I'm self-employed. My life's going to derail if I start to pursue all of these girls. So I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick the one I like. It's going to be hard. So I'll pick this one, and I'll still go out and approach to develop the skill, to build my experience, and to just go and do a little hunt for 90 minutes every Saturday. I think it's a great thing to do. Actually, I found that to be a really good angle for my relationship, where I'm like, I'm still fulfilling the hunter, but I actually have something where I can look the girl in the face honorably and be like, yeah, I'm just with you. I'm just focusing all my aggression into you. But that's something. I'm a lot older, obviously, than Ephraim, for example. So it's just, and that's something I came to like late. Do you know what I mean? Most people will be thinking about this when they're 28. I'm thinking about this when I'm 38. Yeah. So it is something I would say to guys: don't be a doomer and think that you can never just honor like a conventional relationship. There's ways you can do it. Our coach Christian Casanova, the guy who has more infields than anyone else in the world, he has a girlfriend now, and he approaches basically mostly for demos now. Yeah, he's getting that hunt out of him. He's getting that, experience, but he's focused on something else. And there's other guys like that as well. So, yeah, it's what is appropriate for a man at one stage of his life would not be appropriate at another stage. And I think you've got to be realistic about where you are. If you're in your 20s, you're building your experience, amazing. But like, I speak to guys in their mid 30s. Actually, a lot of guys who speak to me. Some cases you've got a lot of responsibility. You're not going to live an aggressive Playboy lifestyle where you're going out with a different girl every night. If you're working for like you're working in an important position in a big company, or you've got your own business with a ton of responsibility, that is not real. It's not going to happen. The best probably you'll be able to do there would be like, maybe just date around for a year, and then you will eventually want to find something more solid because your lifestyle is not amenable to some kind of crazy Playboy lifestyle. Most of the guys, in my experience, cold approach is kind of an interesting thing. Most of the guys in the world who are running these really crazy lives, they mostly actually work in some kind of arena where they're exposed to a lot of women all the time, like bartenders, club owners and things of that nature, maybe even sometimes restaurant owners and things. Very often it's people who are on the scene every day, and they kind of swirl around in this kind of lifestyle. But do you want to be a minimum wage bartender just so you can get girls? I don't think so. So yeah, I just want to just offer up that there's different angles for this at different stages in your life, and don't even think you have to. You can actually have a satisfying hunting life, should we say, through cold approach, and start to sexually discipline yourself as well. That's maybe something for later down the line for some guys, but it's just an interesting thought to add in there. I'll bring you in, Balthus, because I think you've had some you've expressed some things to me in the last couple of weeks where you started to say almost like, I just want to go all in with a girl, or I just want to kind of be single and just running through things. I don't want to be in this gray zone anymore of the harem life and stuff.
Yeah, at this point, cold approach for me is a social experience. It's a mindset thing. It is hanging out with you guys, so it's a social thing as well. Would I be alone in the city? I would not be doing as much solo cold approach sessions. That would be a waste of my time. It would make me lonely and depressed, basically, with time. So I'm looking for the right kind of girl. That's a great fit for me. What I really want is to have an incredible cold approach, just a magical experience from the first interaction, and then have a great date with her, and then vet her for a potential girlfriend. And then the other girls that are like, oh, maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not even dating them. I have like 30 WhatsApps right now in my phone. I have like 10 Instagrams. I'm barely doing any follow-up. In fact, I'm not. I'm seeing one girl now in Serbia. That's it.
Yeah, same.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because I'm genuinely not interested. That's my personal choice. So if you want to see more girls, you can definitely do that. Maybe as a final note, we can summarize everything and talk about what kind of guy you need to be in order to do cold approach. Like for what kind of person, for what kind of man is cold approach? I would say every guy between 12 to 19 years old, 12 to 90, looking for more romantic experiences, not just maybe more, but ultimately the best romantic experiences of your life, looking for a wife, looking for a girlfriend. Are you done with dealing with mediocrity? Are you sick of using dating apps? Do you find going to nightclubs and surrounding yourself with drunk people annoying? I used to find this very annoying. That's one of the reasons I really felt stuck. And it's important to understand that this cold approach thing and the fact that you have now, even in this era, cold approach coaches, that means something. It means there is a problem in our society. I would say in the West, there is a deep social and emotional need for men to take action and do something because they feel stuck. I felt stuck. I knew there was something wrong when I couldn't approach girls. You don't want to see a gorgeous woman walking past you on this square, feel this deep attraction, and just have this physical experience inside you telling you like, something's wrong. Like I should do something, but I kind of black out. I don't know what to do. That's not normal. That's not how it's supposed to be. Like, what story do you want to tell your kids, that you met mom on Tinder, or you met her on Republic Square in Serbia at 12 a.m., on a beautiful summer night, and you had a magical interaction and you just fell in love with each other? Those are different things. What kind of story are you telling yourself? What kind of story are you telling to others and to your kids, to your wife? Um, so yeah, if you're sick with mediocrity, if you're sick of dealing with situationships, if you feel like you can do more, then that feeling is there because it means you can do more, and you shouldn't deal with mediocrity, never. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll answer your prompt there. So the way I see it, cold approach is for the kind of guy that essentially already has most of his life sorted. So that includes social skills. That includes, not to say you have to have your finances completely sorted, but living in mom's basement, trying to go out and date girls and splitting the bill probably is not going to cut it. Yeah. You've already got something about yourself. Yeah. You already essentially like who you are and like the life that you're living, but you still notice that your dating life lags behind. Yeah. You're wondering, I've done the looks max stuff that these red pill guys are pushing on me. I've been in the gym. I look all right. Yeah. I like what I see when I look in the mirror. Yeah. I can hold a conversation. I can look somebody in the eyes. I can go out and be sociable, but for some reason, I still find myself swiping on apps when 12 a.m. rolls around. I still find myself getting drunk at nightclubs when Friday night rolls around. And I can't seem to find any girls or get any results with women with these other methods, whether that be dating apps, whether that be nightclubs. Guys talk about trying to hit on their coworkers. So essentially what's going on is technology has taken a strong hold on our society, and many guys, the vast majority of guys, which would just be considered regular, normal guys who should be in the dating market, find themselves essentially etched out of the dating market because they're relying on algorithms rather than courage, rather than genuine in-person social interactions. And so to me, the person that cold approach is for is the guy that already has life for the most part figured out. Yeah, they're actually headed somewhere with their life and they like where they're going, but their dating life continues to lag behind. And the last thing I'll say on this before I pass it to Joseph is, if you are one of those guys, then your coach is sitting right here in front of you. Yeah, Balthus is amazing when it comes to this skill set. I've never seen somebody that can captivate a girl's attention so consistently. Each and every time he goes up to a girl, I already assume that she's going to stop for him just because of how firm he can get in front of her. And when she does stop for him, he can do little to nothing as far as stare at him. Now he's approaching guys, my bad. Stare at the girl, right? Look her deeply in her eyes and essentially let her carry the conversation sometimes. That's how good he's gotten, right? It wasn't always the case. I've seen him approaching in other countries, but just to see the skill development and where he is at this point. And not to mention, I've already seen him live and in action coaching somebody through this skill set. Yeah, just last week, I saw him with his clients out here from Bosnia, and he was coaching him through his first few approaches. And the guy was able to get into set quickly. Once I rocked up after the immersion, he was already approaching girls while I was there. I didn't even have to push him into the approaches. So that just tells you how good Balthus is at building self-belief within people and walking people through such an intimate skill set like cold approach.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. He's got very an amazing style. You know, he's right up there, as right at the tip of the spear, I would say, in terms of people who are going out and doing approach. You know, a very interesting style. Like I would say, a truly innovative style, a seductive style. You don't need to get even really. You don't need to even get 1/5 as good as Balthus to have an extremely good personal life. You know, so yeah. And also, I would agree that he's got a very encouraging way with people. Even some of my sets out here, as experienced as I am, some sets I might be feeling a bit lazy, or it's just something completely ridiculous, like I don't know, just some scenario which is just you wouldn't normally approach it, and he can just give me that little nudge. And yeah, there's been a few great girls that I've met basically because he's given me the nudge, and even as experienced as I am. So an excellent guy to get in touch with and to kickstart, you know, the rest of your life. And this is I mean, what's more important than this, realistically? If you don't have your personal life sorted, everything else is basically going to come to nothing. I did a video on my channel a few weeks ago about a guy, this is a true story, a guy who is a multi-millionaire, who sold his business. He literally married a prostitute. He got divorced and literally married a prostitute. Obviously divorced her, and then all of these financial things all came crashing down because he couldn't sort his personal life out. This is not uncommon, right? And if you do have a really great personal life, it really does boost your happiness in a way. Yeah, it's just kind of biological, isn't it? In a very visceral way. And meeting a girl in the street, in nature, in the wild, in the way that God intended it, in the way that we were always supposed to, it sets you on course and on track for a good relationship. And all this like alpha male stuff on the internet, just by going over to the girl in the street with a solid approach, as long as it is solid, you're already by default seen as like a highly confident guy by the woman. So you don't need to go and worry about, you know, can I bench press 500 pounds or anything like that. You're already going to be seen as a very solid, confident guy. In terms of like, I suppose the thing I was going to say on this, in terms of like, I suppose debunking, and then just on this theme of myths versus reality. The last thing I will say is, for most guys, we're out here, we're 2 years into approach. If I was not fascinated by approach and also fascinated by coaching and helping other men to overcome this problem in their lives, and I didn't think it was such an important cause that I had maybe an unusually high ability to help guys with because of my life experiences, I'd have been in and out of cold approach. I'd have been in for 6 months, get a girlfriend, 3 months, get a girlfriend, and get lost. Yeah, this is not, you know, people who go and I do cold approach for 10 years. Why? Unless you're coaching, honestly, my sincere advice is get in and get out. And maybe continue the approaches maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks, just to make sure you've got a developed skill set. That's also good. That's good advice as well. Just go do 5 approaches, pay 5 compliments, keep yourself sociable. But for most guys, your goal is simply to be effective. Right. So if you're a solid guy, let's say you're high level, you know, you've got a good programming job, you've got a job, you're a doctor, you're an engineer, you've got a good corporate job, or you're a business owner. You don't have to go on to as long and to the extremes people like us have gone to. We're doing that literally for experiences. I would say 90% of my approaches now are mostly going in, okay, she's on her phone, let me just do that as a training drill, literally, so I can help students with that scenario. And that's basically it. So my advice for most guys, and this is real advice, get in, get the skill, go and have this impactful approach, meet your future wife in an amazing scenario out there in the wild, have this story to go to talk to your son about in 10 years time, in 5 years time. Daddy, how do you meet mummy? Well, you know what? I saw her in the street and I thought she looked so beautiful. I just had to go over and compliment her. That's the story. It's going to be told time and time again for the rest of your life, maybe even your children's life, or if you don't have children, just the rest of your relationship, right? That's what I want to motivate guys into. Normal guys who want to come in, have an amazing kickstart to their relationship. That's the direction guys should be thinking to go in. Not, oh, I want to go into this fantasy world of being a Playboy for the rest of my life, or I want to go out and do 1,000 approaches a year. It's totally, completely unnecessary. And I think even as coaches, I think what we're doing is almost overkill, because we're together, we're having fun together. I would not be doing this amount if I was just here solo, as Balta said. I'd go out at weekends, just do my due diligence, keep myself sharp for my students, but that will be it. Most of my time will be spent on lifestyle and business and fitness and so on. So that's the other thing I want to say. For most guys, get in and out, and build a skill set, get the result, and then bugger off and do other things. Enjoy your life.